Hey, welcome to Speedify Live. I believe this is our 30th episode. Uh, so goal here is to talk about, live streaming, what you can do, streaming video over the internet, how to do a better job of it, what other people are doing, how to get the word out, and how to get really good at it. So our guest today is Sam. And I believe Corey. Is Corey back there somewhere?
He's here. Come here. Come say hi. He's like staring out the window. We've got a big window here in our house, and he likes to watch the squirrels. Come here. Come say hi. I know the squirrels are very excited. Come. There we go. Can you say hi? Hi, everyone. It's Corey.
Yeah.
Hi, handsome. What are you doing? You good boy? He's like, hi, now what?
All right. So, Sam, can you tell us a little bit about tell us about the program, what you're doing, because it is kind of amazing.
Yeah, so basically I help people train their own dogs to become diabetic alert dogs, and I've been doing this all via Zoom for the most part. So I help people train their own dogs to be diabetic alert dogs online, which is a new concept because dog training mostly takes place in person. So it's kind of a very different approach, but I think so far we've been pretty successful. And yeah, it's nice for me that I have, I get to work from home, so I get to spend more time with my dog. And yeah, that's kind of what we've been doing for, gosh, I don't know, 9-10 months now.
So seriously, so dogs can actually smell. What are they smelling? High blood sugar, low insulin?
Yeah, so dogs can smell the changes in your blood sugar. So when you go low, there's a hormone called isoprene, which they can smell. And so the lower your blood sugar is, the more concentrated that smell is. And when your blood sugar is high, they can smell the ketones forming. So the over yes, hi. The higher amounts of sugar in your blood. So yeah, so it's all basically scent-based training. I work with sweat samples. Some people work with saliva samples. It's really a preference of the client, but I primarily work with sweat samples, which is how I trained Corey. I used my own sweat samples. So when your blood sugar is high or low, you can put on just an old T-shirt, take a cut up rag and put it on your skin for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then it will absorb that scent of a high or low blood sugar. And then you just save those in an airtight container and always label it with the date and the number that you were, so you know how old your samples are and what levels you're training with.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was actually reading about how they claim dogs can actually smell COVID and cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They've been training dogs to detect COVID. I think they want to put them in airports soon for that. And yes, dogs have been also known to detect cancer. So they're pretty amazing.
Oh. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this?
Well, let's see. I trained Corey. I worked with another trainer when we were living in Germany. So I did that in person with her. But I was so inspired from doing all of this with him and working with her that I got my dog trainer certification. So with Corey, I've been working, he's 2.5, so 2.5 years. And opening my own business and doing all of that, I've been doing since about March of this year. So yeah, it's relatively new, but so far it's really, really great. I'm loving it. I love working with dogs and people and helping people train their dogs. There's just so much. It's really rewarding also to see, when your clients are messaging you like, my dog alerted me on their own for the first time. It's just, I don't know. There's just so much passion behind this for me.
That's cool. Ryan's in the background, one of our producers who doesn't normally like to go online, but I would like him to join us. And can you pop on, Ryan? I know you weren't planning to.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Ryan. I think you had some questions. You want to jump in here and start asking some of your questions?
Sure. Yeah. So, how do you run your training sessions for your online and in-person dog training?
So online, we just meet via Zoom. So my clients can also, for in person, they can schedule on my website. Just whatever availability I have and whatever availability they have, they can sign up whatever fits into their schedule. And then for online clients, I'll send them a Zoom link. And for my in-person clients, I usually go to their house just because logistically that's just better to train a dog in its home environment than to bring it here where there's I have 2 dogs right now and it's just distracting. So yeah.
So you're just using Zoom for your online sessions. Do you have any like special setup with that, or like cameras or lighting, or
No, I just
laptop
like
webcam?
laptop, computer. Yeah, that's pretty much all I use. I do have like ring lights and stuff for making some of my training videos and some of our TikTok videos with Corey. But yeah, that's not what I usually use for Zoom.
Awesome. Yeah, Corey's TikTok page has like over 500,000 followers now, right?
Yes, he does.
How's that feel?
It's pretty crazy. I started all of this online, Instagram and whatnot, sort of just for fun and just to kind of educate people about type 1 diabetes. And then it just kind of exploded overnight. And it's been, I don't know, it feels good that like so many people care enough to learn about type 1 diabetes and about service dogs and dog training. And I don't know, Corey is really cute, so I'm glad a lot of people like to watch him too.
Yeah,
just share that.
You're gonna hit a million soon.
Yeah.
So how many dogs have you guys successfully trained?
We haven't fully trained anyone completely yet, but I do have a few clients whose dogs have started slowly but surely alerting on their own. So I would say that's about 3 of my clients. And we're up to, gosh, I think about 27 clients now. So it's a slowly growing, but it's a good business. And, I don't know, I'm proud to be part of it. And I like to think that I'm making it affordable for people, because when you go through an organization for a diabetic alert dog, it can cost you $20,000 or more. And my goal was not to make it so expensive, but to make it an achievable goal for people with diabetes. I have a little dog here that I'm training for a family, for a little girl. She's 5. And so far it's going well. This is our 3rd week that she's here, and she's picked up, the booping command and she's pretty attentive to scent training. We've just done low blood sugars. So she's pretty smart, and it's really exciting. It's fun to do it again.
Is that Ella?
That's Ella. Yes, that is Ella.
I saw her in the TikTok.
Yeah, she's really cute.
She is.
She's a bundle of energy, but she's really cute.
What kind of dog is she?
She's a golden doodle, as far as that's what the family says.
Hmm.
I would think more labradoodle just based on her personality, but
Hmm.
I don't know.
So how many of those 27 um, clients are online versus in person?
I'd say most of them. I think I have, let me think. I think I have about 4 or 5 in-person clients right now, but everyone else is pretty much online. Yeah.
Um, what are like the pros and cons of online versus in-person dog training?
Well, I mean, it is always better in person just because you can really show people what to do. I can show you on Zoom, but it's harder for you
Hmm.
to see the specific, really close up details of what I'm doing, or for me to see if you're doing it exactly right. There's always that connection issue. I've had to reschedule a few times just because, we had thunderstorms here in Illinois and like my internet was down or a client's internet was down. And those kind of things make it really, really frustrating. Um,
Yeah, but
but it's really nice. I have more flexibility. I have more time with my dogs. I have more time to do the things, I'm not gone all day and having to come home and be stressed. And I don't know, it's nice to be my own boss and have my own hours. If I have a doctor's appointment, I can schedule that into my day really easily, especially because most of my things are online. I don't have those driving times like, oh no, I have to drive 45 minutes this way and an hour this way to see a client. It's like, no, it's all from home. It's really flexible. So it's a big plus for me.
have you considered doing live streaming in addition to like Zoom sessions?
I've thought about it. It's a little time consuming.
Hmm.
Like even just making TikTok videos, it seems like it's quick, but you've got to add in captions and you've got to edit them. And live streaming, I guess, that aspect is taken out of it, but it's
Hmm.
also, I just have to find the right time to cater to my audience. Like, when are people working? When are people not working? Is it better to do it in the evening or on the weekend? But then I also need to have time for like my family. So it's kind of like it's something that I want to do. It's just something that I haven't gotten started with yet.
Yeah. Was there any like particular video or TikTok that brought you and Corey to overnight success, or like
Um,
anything that went viral, or was it just like a
Yeah,
gradual
so
thing?
so Corey has a fear of hardwood floors, and because when he was little, like ran and slipped, and he pulled a muscle, but it wasn't such a bad muscle pull. It was just more like the shock of like, oh my gosh, I ran and I hurt myself. Um, so yeah, that kind of scared him of the floors, and so he wears shoes. And one of our videos that went viral, one of the main ones, was me explaining all of that and showing him without shoes versus with shoes, and it was really adorable because what dog wears shoes all the time.
Hmm.
And our other viral video was the one where I explain how I train the low blood sugar alert training. So how I practice it with him, how I keep him on his toes. And those just kind of went viral overnight. I woke up and it was like so many TikTok notifications. I had to turn them
Hmm.
off. Like it was crazy.
Does he just wear the shoes inside or outside
Mhm.
too?
Just inside, just anywhere that there's kind of slippery floor. So if we go to, when I take him to the grocery store, he has his shoes on. Um, he's got him on just inside. Outside, if we go for a walk or he's in the yard, I take him off because he doesn't need them. But yeah.
So, do you do any promotion of your dog training services other than through like TikTok and social media?
Not so much. I have made some flyers that I want to like start handing out or hanging up around locally. And I have business cards, but I kind of promoted, handing those out also via social media. So I feel like everything these days is through social media or word of mouth. That's kind of how the world is these days.
Yeah, definitely.
I
know
Sorry.
if you're doing, wait.
Are there questions on the side? Like, am I allowed to answer those?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, I see. How young does a dog need to be to start training? So for service dog training, you can use any age as like, sorry, that came out wrong. Start with them at the youngest age that you can. So dogs shouldn't leave their families until they're 2 months old. So at 2 months old, you start training. I don't recommend starting training with a dog that's older than 2, just because the entire process of training a service dog takes 1 to 2 full years. So because you have to get all of the basic training in, obedience training, plus the service dog training. And if your dog is then 4 or 5, when that's over, your dog is then going to be close to retirement, because older dogs just don't have as much motivation to work and their alerts are often not as accurate. So the younger, the better. Would any dog be fit to be a diabetic alert dog? No. So not all dogs are meant to be diabetic alert dogs. And I see above they also added any breed of dog. Most dogs that are diabetic alert dogs are dogs that are working breeds. So, you have Labradors, Golden Retrievers, German Shepherds, any kind of like cattle dog. You want a dog that is bred or has genes that it's motivated to work. So it wants to have a job. You also want to have a dog that has a strong nose. So, unfortunately, like pugs or bulldogs are not ideal, just because they do have breathing problems a lot of the time, just because of their breed. And they would probably smell it, but they wouldn't be as on point or as on top of it as a dog with a different kind of nose. So that's that question. Oh, can I train a 4-year-old dog that is already obedience trained and is highly motivated? You could try. I don't know why not. If it has the right qualities and right personality to be a service dog, it always, again, depends on the dog. You could do all of the training, have on paper, it's the perfect dog, and it just still won't want to work for you. So you could have a dog that has none of the check marks from that, checklist, and it'll be an amazing service dog. This is, again, it depends on the dog. It depends on you, how much work you put into training the dog, how much effort you're putting in. I don't see why you wouldn't want it. If you think your dog can do it, you might as well give it a try. There's no harm in trying, but there's just never a guarantee.
Hey, Alex. He's having technical difficulties.
It happens.
Speaking of technical difficulties, I know if you're doing a lot of like Zoom calls, you can run into them. Here at Speedify, we call those streamergencies.
Streamergency. The stressful situation when one's live stream breaks down or cuts out unexpectedly.
So, what is your worst streamergency story? Have you ever been interrupted by connection drops during any of your training calls?
Yeah, I think probably one of the worst ones was a couple weeks ago with a client. We had really bad thunderstorms here in Illinois, and my internet was in and out and turning on and off, and it was very frustrating. And then on her end, she also lives kind of in the middle of nowhere, so her internet in the first place isn't a strong connection. And it was just, I mean, we both turned our videos off, and like, it was just, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And so I just texted her. I was like, look, let's reschedule. I'm so sorry, but like, we cannot get through this call at all.
Yeah, that's really tough.
Yeah, it can be frustrating when that happens.
So back to Corey. What kind of dog is he? And how
Corey
old is he?
is he's 2.5. He's a Labrador Retriever. He's purebred. He's my first purebred dog ever, actually. We always rescued dogs from shelters when I was growing up. But yeah, I got him from a breeder when we were living in Germany, and she has experience looking for dogs that she gives to people to be service dogs, or sells to people, not gives, I wish. But yeah, so he comes from kind of like a working breed of Labrador, is what they call them in Germany. You have the show breed and the working breed. So he's a working breed. His parents are both hunting dogs, so they use those labs for hunting in the woods and stuff. So he kind of has it in him to like want to have a job. There's a question. Does your service dog have to be certified to have public access to stores, airports, etc. if the dog is self-trained? No. So in the United States, there is no official certification for service dogs. So the ADA has no test. There's no certificate required by law or by the ADA to have a service dog. So if you have owner trained your dog and the dog does a task for you, it is a service dog. That being said, there are guidelines. So your dog cannot be biting people. It can't be showing any signs of aggression in public. It has to be house trained. It can't be urinating in the store, all those kind of things, like, basic manners. Your dog has to be really well behaved. It can't be trying to go, and if you take it to the supermarket, it can't be trying to, steal the steak from the counter, that kind of stuff. But again, there's no real guidelines there. It's kind of wishy-washy. And in some ways it's good because if you are owner training, you have that more flexibility that you don't have to pass a certain test. But at the same time, then it gives a lot of people the freedom to lie and say, oh, well, my dog is a service dog when it's not, and gives actual real service dogs a bad name. Did you ever have to work with a dog that was so difficult to train that you gave up? Not yet. I haven't yet. I feel like, well, I used to be a teacher, and all kids can learn, and I believe all dogs can learn. You just have to find the right approach and the right method and the right owner who's willing to work with their dog. I have had clients where I've explained to them, this is going to be difficult. This is what you're going to have to do. And this is what, I can help you with. And these are the things that you're going to have to work with yourself, because I'm not there in person. I can't take the dog and train it for you. And I've had them say, okay, this just isn't working for me. I don't have the time. I don't want to put the energy into this. So thank you, but no thank you. But I don't think that if you're willing to put the effort into your dog training and working with your dog, I don't think that there's any dog that can't be trained. And sometimes it takes a day, sometimes, depending on the dog and what you're trying to train, can take years. So.
When did you start training Corey?
When he was 2 months old, so August of 2019. Feels like not a long time ago and a really long time ago because of the pandemic. I don't know. Time isn't real. Yeah, but I mean, I've had dogs my whole life growing up. There never was a moment where we didn't have a dog, I don't think, in our house. And yeah, dogs are just a huge part of my life. They always have been, and they always will be. Oh, another question. Can a public place ask a service dog to leave even if they did nothing wrong? No. So you have every right, if your dog is completely, behaving well and not exhibiting any aggression or urinating or whatever in the store and is focusing on you and is calm, they cannot ask you to leave. You have every right to actually call the police, and have the police come and help you. There's only 2 questions that anyone is allowed to ask you in a public place. So like a supermarket or I don't know, baseball game or whatever. Is this a service dog, and what service do they provide you? Don't quote me exactly on that, but it's something like that. And you can say, okay, yes, it's a service dog. Yes, it's a diabetic alert dog, and that's it. Or yes, it's a anxiety dog, or PTSD animal. And those are the only 2 questions they can ask you legally. And if they try to ask you, well, show me the alert that it does, they can't ask you that. They can't force the dog to do any kind of behavior or any kind of training that you've done with it. Legally, you actually have a lot more support from the ADA in that regard than the store does. Maybe I answered it. It's very awesome what you're doing. Thank you. Do some breeds have predisposition to do this, or can that be taught to any breed? Yeah, so I did answer it, but it's okay. I'll answer it again. So basically you need a dog that has kind of working breed in it. So Labradors, German Shepherds, cattle dogs, Malinois also are good ones. Just dogs that have that history of needing a job. Hunting dogs are also really good. So, like smaller wiener dogs, although personality wise, sometimes they're very stubborn. Poodles are also great, but they can also be stubborn. So again, you have that breed, but it also has to have the right personality. You could have perfect, Labrador, great, but it's just way too hyper, or it's way too lazy, and it just won't make a good service dog. Did you try, or do you have any knowledge if cats can also be trained for this? Everybody says they are very empathetic. They come near you to sit where you may be hurting, etc. I don't personally, but I have actually heard, I've got a lot of comments on TikTok too, actually, from people saying, my cat has alerted me. My cat alerts me. So I think that you probably can train a cat. I just think that it's not as common and cats don't come out with you in public. So like the service dog is a service dog by the ADA. It's not a service animal. They don't really consider other animals service animals, although it says service animal. And if you keep reading, it says, yeah, we just kind of mean dogs. Because for a while, people were trying to have service ponies and like having miniature ponies come around. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But also it seems very impractical to have a service pony. So.
I think I heard of someone having a service kangaroo once. So.
Wow. Yeah, those are, my dog isn't that big, and sometimes it's still kind of like, oh, this aisle is really tight, or oh, this table at the restaurant, like you don't fit under here. So just a kind of, I don't know. What if someone triggered your dog to misbehave in a store? Well, your dog has to be well trained enough that it won't be triggered in a store. That being said, you have a lot of jerks in the world who may harass your dog, who may provoke your dog. I think it just really depends on the situation. But if somebody is harassing you and, trying to get your dog to misbehave in a store, I would actually tell management and have that person leave, because that's unacceptable. I don't know.
All right.
Alex?
You guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
I am going to point fingers. I'm going to tell you what my technical problems were. I installed an app called Crisp with a K, which is supposed to clean up your audio so you can't hear noise in the background. It was eating 99% of my GPU, making my computer unusable. I uninstalled it and now I'm fine. So Crisp, you're terrible. I'm done with you. It seemed like a good idea. You know, what harm could it do? You know, you wouldn't hear my kids in the background. And it turns out you just couldn't even hear me. So that was terrible. And so thank you, Ryan, for stepping in. I know you didn't want to. It looked like you were doing a great job. I was enjoying the stream.
I was
enjoying the stream.
Well, I'm going to swap out and let Alex take
All right,
over.
I'll let you bail. So here's a funny question. Is Corey wearing shoes?
He is.
Why is he wearing shoes?
We touched on that briefly. So he
Oh,
had
sorry.
an accident walking on the hardwood floor in our apartment back in Germany when he was like 7 or 8 months old. And he ran and he slipped and he pulled a muscle. And it was more the shock of getting hurt than actually the pain level. Because I took him to the vet and she, you know, pressed on him and she's like, honestly, it's a little bit tight, but he's fine. I was like, okay. So he just is a little dramatic. And yeah, that fear, I guess, just kind of really set itself in his brain. Dogs have also like a time in their development where it's called the scary period or the spooky phase, where everything that wasn't scary to them before is suddenly scary. So if they do have some kind of accident during that time, it really will like more deeply manifest itself. And that's what happened with him.
My dog just seemingly randomly, you know, once a year, he has a week where he's afraid to go upstairs. And then he gets over it. And, you know, eventually he does it again. I don't know if he occasionally slips on the stairs and then. You know,
Maybe,
stays off
yeah,
for a
maybe then
week, or-
he's cautious for a little bit and then he's like, oh, it's actually okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
I've actually been wondering, it's sort of funny, like, why are we so bad at understanding dogs, right? I mean, I feel like I understand my dog. I've been living with him for years, but like, you know, we can learn French fluently, but why can't we learn Doggist fluently? It should be a simpler language, right?
Dogs communicate like with their bodies. So we communicate with words. So, you know, you can tell a dog, sit, 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 sit. And if you don't add some kind of hand gesture to it, especially a dog that is learning commands, they're not going to understand what you want from them. They can learn certain words, of course, but yeah, they speak with their bodies. So, you know, a lot of times I have a lot of clients who are like, my dog is peeing all the time. Like anytime I, you know, try to pet him, I'm like, well, are you on the dog's eye level? Are you coming from underneath versus like, you know, coming really aggressively over the top of them? And they're like, oh, yeah. Like, yes, they just, their understanding is just completely different from ours.
Yeah.
So.
When we first adopted my dog, every time my wife came home, he would just pee on the floor immediately. And I think it was pretty clearly meant as some sort of sign of respect, but not the way it was taken.
Submissive peeing, you know.
All right, so Call Me V has an interesting question here.
Oh yeah,
Does your dog only boop you, or will it boop a stranger if it notices a stranger has insulin level issues?
So that is a good question. So far, he's only ever booped me. But that being said, we did when we were getting ready to move over here, we sold my husband's car, and the wife of the guy looking at the car was also type 1 diabetic. And we were outside. Corey was with us outside looking at the car, and she and I were talking to each other, and he started alerting me. And I was like, And I checked, and my blood sugar was fine. And I looked at her. I was like, do you happen to have a low blood sugar? And she checked, and she was like, oh, yeah, I do. So he was alerting me to her low blood sugar, but he didn't alert her. So I'm actually curious. I need to find some diabetic friends so we can test this out to see, okay, are you going to alert me to their blood sugar or will you alert them? Like I get this question a lot and I've always wanted to test it out. So
That's really interesting. You have to test that.
yeah, I know. Where are all my diabetic friends at in Bloomington? Come find me.
All right. So do you have other pets?
I don't. I have a little dog. Her name is Ella right now, and I'm training her for a family to also be a diabetic alert dog for her owner's family. But she's 5, so it's kind of really sweet. They're a wonderful family, and she's doing great so far. This is week 3 that she's with me, and she's doing great with scent training. She's doing great with learning basic puppy things and commands, and yeah, she's really high energy. So Corey sometimes will just turn his back to her and be like, I don't want to play right now. But yeah, they're great. She's great.
That's cool. So, I mean, alert dogs. What else? We talked a little bit about you detect cancer, COVID, apparently, according to articles. What else are they used for? Are there?
Well, you can have an alert dog for any number of things. It doesn't have to be for diabetes. You can have an alert dog for panic attacks, for anxiety attacks, for PTSD, for migraines. They're working on migraine alert dogs. I've had some people reach out to me about those. You can have a hearing dog. So for people who are deaf, the dog will alert the person to the phone ringing or the doorbell ringing or the smoke alarm going off. There's just so many amazing things that dogs can do that I don't even think all of it's really been explored to the point that it could be. I don't know. You could probably Google, is there an alert dog for this? And there probably is, just because they're so in tune, and we bred them to work for us back a long time ago. So that's kind of, they're supposed to be our companions, in my opinion.
Right. Fantastic. My best friend.
Yes, my best friend, definitely.
So he hasn't completely replaced, doing the blood tests and stuff, right?
No. So I would say his alerts are pretty accurate. I would say he's like about, depends on the day, 85 to 95% accurate. He does often alert me before my CGM goes off. So like he'll come and tell me I'm low, and then literally a minute later, my alarm goes off. So, it's really helpful when he alerts me way before the alarm goes off. Like today, he alerted me. I was, my CGM said 123, but my blood sugar was, my arrow trending down, like straight down. So I was dropping fast. So he smelled that. But the machine doesn't beep until you're at a certain level. So it's really helpful to have that, that extra, I don't know, security of having an alert dog for me, especially at night. It's just that my husband and I, we sleep through my alarms going off, and he's woken me up so many times, just like, hey, wake up, something's wrong.
Wow,
so
that's really good.
Really why I needed an alert dog was more for the night times. How many times does he alert you a day? It depends on my blood sugar. That depends on my day. Gosh, I don't know. If I'm having a bad day where the other day I was low for, I think, the whole day, and he would alert me. He alerted me probably like 15, 18 times. Like morning, I got up, I ate something, and then I crashed after eating again, and he alerted me, and then I ate something else. And like, it was just, if you're diabetic, just like one of these.
Right.
But at some point I do tell him like, it's enough. Like because he gets worried. So I don't want him to feel anxious for the whole day. So I will tell him like, you're okay. Like, good job, but go lay down. I'm okay. I'll
That's
figure
good.
it out. I hope.
So you mentioned living in Germany. How was
Yeah.
that? How different was Germany than the U.S.?
It's very different. For me, it's a home away from home. So my mom is German, and my grandparents still live in Germany. So we went a lot when I was a kid, just every summer. So it's yeah. I went like the year after I graduated college. I was like, oh, I'll go live there for a year, and I don't know, see what happens. And then I met my husband and was there for 6 years. But we both wanted to come back here. My husband has family in Indiana. So we were like, yeah, it's time to go to the States.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So what's a great thing about living in Germany? I mean, there must be some way it's better, right?
Well, the healthcare is fantastic. I didn't have to pay $1,439 copay for my insulin. I only paid 10 euros. So like, I don't know, what is that? $8, $12, something like that. I don't know the ratio of euro to dollar right now, but was not as expensive.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So social media stuff. What platforms are you on? Where do you actually use yourself?
Mainly on Instagram, and I guess Facebook, because it's connected to Instagram. So whatever I post on Instagram, it posts on Facebook. But I'm not very actively going on Facebook. TikTok, now I'm back more on it. Took kind of a little bit of a break just with our move back to the US. It was kind of too much at once. But I'm back on TikTok, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So I just want to say that's our first spam comment we've ever gotten.
Oh wow.
So a big moment. I hear other people have huge problems with all this spam during their conversations, but I've never gotten anything but good questions and stuff up until now. Did that really just happen?
Interesting.
Yeah. And all right. I need to stop kicking things. So that was not an internet failure. That was a camera disconnected. I'm having a rough day here, Sam.
Having a rough day. I'm sorry.
So where do you learn about this stuff? I mean, all this stuff about dog training, diabetes.
Well, dog training has been, I guess, my whole life. Growing up with dogs and working with dogs and having dogs. With diabetes, I mean, I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 4 years old. So that's been more or less my entire life. And when I was in college, a lot of like discussion was happening about diabetic alert dogs. And I had a roommate actually who had a diabetic alert dog, and because she was also diabetic. And, that was just really fun for me to see their relationship and how that worked. And then I kind of, I was really interested in getting one for myself because I had some really scary nighttime lows that, I almost didn't wake up from. And I talked to my doctor in Germany. I was like, how do I get a diabetic alert dog? Because I need, an extra, every tool that you can have as a type 1 diabetic, you have to get. And he pointed me in the direction of a service dog trainer. So in Germany, you work with a trainer and train your own service dog. And that's what I did. And she's fantastic. I love her. I learned everything that I know from her. And she's cool. Where's Corey? Can he come say hi? Can you come say hi? Come here. He's taking a little nap. Squirrel watching out the window is exhausting, apparently. Come here. Come. Okay, let's go. Want a treat? There we go. Okay. Oh, here we go. Did you say hi, buddy? You want your treat.
Hi, Corey. So does he ever look at screens? My dog just ignores screens. Like I can't get him to. Even if you put on pictures of dogs and things.
Yeah, if it's a big, like our big TV, sometimes he will. But dogs can't. Most dogs can't really see the screen unless like it's what is it, like nature kind of things that they would see in real life, like in outside. But it's just kind of confusing for them because their vision is just not as strong as their hearing or as their sense of smell.
I heard an interesting thing about octopuses that they don't seem to see the screen unless you actually play 120 frame per second video.
Oh.
And in fact, their eyesight is so much better than ours that this video is so low quality that they don't even get that it's video. It's just flickering lights.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I don't know if it's true, but that's what they say. That yeah, I mean, dogs see at a much higher frame rate than us too, right? I think we see about 60 pictures per second. They see like 80, right?
I'm not sure about that actually. I know that they're not colorblind, but they don't see colors as well as we do.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that. That could be. Maybe that's why the screen is weird for them.
Yeah. Huh. Cool. All right. So I think our audience seems to be growing from the beginning. There's a lot more people watching now who weren't watching at the beginning. So if any of you have questions for Sam or for Corey, you can go ahead and put them in the comments here. Let's see, what else? So anything from the beginning that you think you should explain again? Obviously, I was having problems. A lot of people have turned over.
I feel like we did. Yeah, we had a couple of the same questions about the types of breeds that should be service dogs, but I don't know. I think I have no idea. I feel like there's so many questions that there's just hard to pick.
Ozzy is my dog who hides from cameras. I don't even know how he knows what they are, but the camera. He was sitting in the room with me until I got the camera working, and then he fled. So I don't know. I don't know where he is. I'd love to show him to you, but he took off. I've even got treats here to try to sucker him into the view of the camera. It is not enough. He took off.
There's a one. What are some of the tasks Corey can do? So Corey can bring me my juice. That's what I use to correct my blood sugar when I'm low. He'll often bring me my juice before he alerts me. He obviously alerts to high blood sugars, low blood sugars. If I faint, he stays with me and he barks until somebody comes to help. He can turn the light on and off for me, although we haven't done that since we moved because the light switches are different here in the US. So we've got to change some of our light switches around. Gosh, what else can you do? So much. I don't know. Everything. He's just the best dog ever.
He sounds a lot more talented than my Ozzy.
He saves my life.
He gives me a paw. That seems to be about the outer limits of.
Or he can shake. He can stand on his hind legs. I don't know. He can do. Those are the main things I think for diabetes. Like my next goal, we have to get a different fridge, is to train him to get some stuff out of the fridge for me. But our fridge is just not dog compatible. What's his favorite snack? He loves cheese. You want some cheese?
He does. Look at that.
He's like, huh? Is there cheese here? He loves cheese. I mean, same. So, yes. We'll get some after this.
I feel like now you've offered it. You got to give him some.
Yes. He loves cheese. He'll do anything for cheese. Right.
All right. Well, I think we're coming up on an hour here, so I think I should say thank you, both to
Thank
Sam
you.
and to Corey, to everyone in the audience, and
Yeah.
the opposite of a thank you to the makers of Crisp, the audio software that eats 100% of your GPU, so you can't do video. That was the worst. You guys completely failed me. But other than that, and thank you to Ryan for stepping up when I couldn't hear anything
Yeah.
anymore. That was great. Thursday, final thing. Layla Giovanni, who is a singer and content creator, will be our guest. So this is Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, same time. So she's been streaming virtual concerts, and it has been really, really awesome. And I don't know if we talked about Speedify at all, but if any of you are interested in it, there's a coupon up top. Streaming 2021 gets you 25% off at speedify.com. There you go, 25% off. So streaming 2021, go ahead and use it. Or you can just try the software for free. You get 2 gigs a month if you just download it. And I think that is it for tonight. So
I saw just one more question, if I can answer it. Yeah. How old does a diabetic alert dog handler have to be? I mean, as long as they're able to talk to the dog and give the dog commands, they can be a child. So I don't recommend that a child trains the dog. Like I would work with a parent and a child, which is what I do for some of my clients. The child should be involved in the training, but once the dog is trained, then they can definitely be with a child. So there's no, I would say 4 years old, 5 years old, depending on the kid.
Yeah, when my daughter was about 6 years old, we first got our first dog, and we had this amazing babysitter who trained my daughter to train dogs. Right?
Wow.
You had to teach, because she was all too yeah. And no, you have to take command. You have to be firm. If the dog does the right thing, you give him the treat. And so the babysitter just trained Anya to train him to sit and stuff. And,
nice.
And she figured it out, and it totally transformed her relationship with dogs. Now she's become really good with them. So thank you, awesome. Roxanna. I doubt you're watching, but you were the best. All right. And sounds like we're mining some crisp Bitcoins. That is so likely. It's so likely that the whole software is some kind of scam trying to use my computer to, get some cryptocurrency. That would kind of explain everything. So, all right. And with that, I think we are done. Thank you, everybody. And hopefully I'll see you on Thursday. Thanks, Sam.